How I did 102K in 7 months with my music coaching business. Here's a Stripe screenshot to prove it. The coaching business I was doing at the time was teaching recording artists how to produce their own songs. So in this video, what I want to do is basically I'll take you through the story and then essentially the things that I did. It was really I raised my price and got better at sales. That was the cut and dry of it. But I want to dive into specifically what happened. So the story was essentially so I was charging 3K in 2023. That was when I started my coaching business, right? I started it kind of like January of 2023 was when I started. It was like end of 2022. And I set out on a mission that I wanted to help recording artists learn how to produce, mix, and master their own songs. The first 6 months of 2023, I didn't make any money, really. I think I made $3,000 total. Then I met a coach named Jeremy Pogue, changed my life forever, love him, and learned marketing. And then I went from 0 to 20K a month. But the way, that was in 2023. But the way that I did this, I zoomed in a lot. But the way I ended up doing over six figures in just about 7 months was this story that I want to zoom in on with you. So then I raised the price a little to like 3.5K. And I went basically from charging 3.5K to 5K. I was closing around 18% at the time when I was charging 3.5K. And then I went to 36% close rate. So not only did I didn't double the price, but almost, right? Like from 3.5K to 5K. So raised my price and doubled my close rate within 8 weeks. After that, it was cool because I was at having 10K a month in monthly recurring revenue. It actually wasn't true. It's not truly monthly recurring. Monthly recurring means someone's paying you per month, like for however much time. But I had people on payment plans. So I had 10K a month in back end revenue. And what that means is I would look at my payment processor and know that I had $10,000 per month coming in, even if I didn't run ads, even if I didn't get any new clients. I just knew I was going to have 10K coming in. Bro, the feeling, oh my God, the feeling of comfort, the feeling of comfort and security you have when you've got back end revenue like that, oh boy, it's really nice. So, and then I was basically doing 20K a month consistently. I still am, by the way, but at that time. So obviously the first thing I did was raise my price. Now, when I first started the program, it was 1.5K. Then I raised it to 3K, then 3.5K, and then 5K. So, when it comes to what it is you do, price is kind of a funny thing. Price is like this weird, how do you really know what the value even is? You know what I'm saying? How do you know? And it's kind of to be honest with you, we all kind of just pull these numbers out of our asses. Don't we? We literally why is it worth 1.5K? But one thing to think about in pricing psychology is the more you charge, the more valuable it's going to seem. Hormozy talks about this. There's no and he might have even gotten this from someone else, but there's literally no competitive advantage to being the cheapest. Because if you're trying to just out compete people by price, it's well, dude, you know what I mean? You could just lower your price. There's no competitive advantage to being not the cheapest, the second cheapest. But there is actually a competitive advantage to being the most expensive. Because that means you're valued at the highest. You know what I mean? So price is interesting, and I want you to realize that if you're doing music production coaching or really any kind of coaching or music coaching, people will pay. People will pay you $5,000 or more to learn these skills. One of the things that helped me raise my price as well was actually putting numbers and value to my program. So for example, for my music production coaching program, I was helping recording artists learn how to produce, mix, master their own music. So if we were to put the number down, let's say that it was, let's say it costs $500 to make a song. It costs more than that, but let's say it costs $500, right? By the way, you don't have to spend $500 to make a song, but we're talking about getting a beat that is custom, exclusive, unlimited rights, recording, mixing, and mastering, the whole gambit. You can get it done cheaper if you have your own gear, if you know how to mix yourself, if you can engineer. But overall, a lot of people do pay somewhere around $500 to $1,000 a song. Okay, well, so if you want to be any kind of relevant in today's day and age with music, you're probably going to need to put out at least one song a month if that's the route you're trying to take. Okay, well, so $500 a month times 12 is $6,000. So My program being $3,000 at the time was already super valuable because it's like, well, if you pay me 3 grand, you're going to make a song in the next 3 months and you'll have the skills to always make your own music. Like you are going to take away music production skills that you'll hold on to the rest of your career, your life. Even if I try, and then I thought about it, I was like, dude, even if I charge 5,000, that's cheap because you have these skills forever. Plus, you now have a monetizable skill if you can produce, mix, and master and get paid to do that. You can't really get paid that well as a songwriter. If you're a recording artist or a songwriter, there's ways to make money, but they're kind of hard. Sync placements, brand deals, all that shit, whatever it is. But when you can produce, mix, and master, it's a lot easier to make money. You can sell beats, you can do sessions, you can mix and master, you can make a side income producing, mixing, mastering. So you pay me 5 grand, you're going to learn how to produce, plus you'll have a monetizable skill, plus you'll be able to put out music for the rest of your career. So this is what made it for me logical to actually raise my price. Like when you're thinking about raising your prices, and like this video is not really a pricing video, but when you're thinking about like how much should I charge, what are my prices, it's like, dog, first of all, just realize that the price of anything in this world is somebody pulling it out of their ass. Like who's to say a car is worth 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000, $200,000? It's like, bro, at the end of the day, it's the same shit. A Bugatti and a Camry, it's like, oh no, it isn't. It's like point A to point B, bro. It's the same shit. But why does a Bugatti $1 million and a fucking Toyota is not $1 million? It's like somebody pulled it out of their ass and made the car valuable. And at that point, you value a Bugatti more. Now, I'm going to give you this. If a Bugatti was only $100,000, it wouldn't be valued the same. The reason a Bugatti is what it is, it's because it's $1 million car. You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting. I'll throw this like quick side thing on here because I think this might help you. So the car brand Maserati. So you would think, oh, Maserati, it's got a fancy name. It's got the cool little trident logo. You know, in my mind, actually, Maserati is not a very good car. And you want to know why? Because my cousin, Thomas Levy, he used to be a valet. And I asked him, have you ever driven a Maserati? He goes, yeah, Maseratis are shit. I'm like, actually? He's like, Maseratis are dog shit. My cousin Thomas is a big car guy. And so he knows cars more than me. And he's like, Maseratis are literally dog shit cars. Like they're overpriced, overexpensive, overhyped. They're actually mechanically really shitty cars. And they don't last. And it's really interesting because now I will see people, like I bet you we could go on Facebook Marketplace, or I bet you we could go on Google and find Maseratis for less than $100,000. Like older ones. And they don't look that good. And it made me realize, I'm like, dude, you would never, I don't want to say never, but would you ever find a Ferrari for $100,000 used? Probably not. It's going to be really hard to find a Maserati for less than Ferrari for less than 100,000. Are you ever going to find a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a Rolls-Royce for less than $100,000? A Bugatti? Are you ever going to see a Bugatti for less than $100,000? Probably not. But Maserati you will, because Maseratis aren't that good. And so you can see by the pricing, and you can tell, you can link a lot of things to value based on the price. So that was one of the big things. And then sales. And I'm giving a huge shout out to my brother Austin Medlin here because he's the fucking man. But also because like he's the reason I got good at sales. Like marketing was dialed, sales wasn't until it was. And I just like, let's go back and zoom in on these two sexy men here. Look at these guys. I mean, come on here. So Austin Medlin's really the reason that I became great at sales. He taught me sales. He taught me, and Austin has done himself, let's see, over $9 million in cash collected him. And then from clients that he's worked with, it's over $100 million. Okay, this man knows how to fucking sell. He's the best sales professional in the game. And I have a belief, call it a limiting belief. I call a belief, if you didn't learn sales from Austin, you didn't learn sales. That's how much I believe in this man. So I learned sales from him, right? I paid this man, and I'll tell you the quick story, actually. This is a really, really good story. I want to tell you the story of how I paid him. So I booked in a call with him. I had about $4.2 thousand to my name, maybe a little less. I don't remember. It was like 4.2K. And I was spending $100 per day on ads. And I was getting calls booked on my calendar, but I wasn't closing them. And so I booked in a call with him, and I wanted to talk to him about hiring him as a sales coach. And I didn't know what he was going to charge. I figured in my mind, hopefully it's like 5K. If it's 5K, I can split up into a payment plan. I can make it happen. Anyway, we had a great sales call. He's great, obviously. We had a great call. And he's like, yeah, man, so for us to work together, it's going to be 9K. And I was like, fuck. I was like, damn, fuck, that's too much, like in my head. But But because I thought 5K and he said 9K, I was like, this guy's super valuable. If he had said 3K or 4K or 5K, I would have been like, is this guy really that good? But because he said at that time what I thought was a high number, he doesn't charge 9K anymore, by the way. He charges more than that. But I thought, okay, if he charges 9K, I'm like, he must be really good. By the way, he has now he has two comma clubs. That means he's made over $1 million in one business, two business, and his own business, three businesses. So when he said the 9K, I was like, okay. I was like, dude, listen, here's my situation. I have 4.2K. Okay. I have credit card debt. At the time I had credit card debt. I was like, I can't even get a credit card. I couldn't do Affirm or Klarna buy now, pay laters. Like this is what I have. He's like, all right, why don't we do 4 payments of $2,250? Now so imagine, right? $4,200 minus $2,250 would have left me, actually, and it did leave me with this much money. I'm getting uncomfortable even thinking about this story because I remember this. Anyway, I said, damn, dude. I was like, well, I told him, I was like, look, bro, I'm spending $100 a day on ads, which I have to do because that's how I'm getting calls on my calendar. So if I pay you this, like I technically can pay you the $2,250. I'll have $1,950 left. Like I'll lower my ad spend to $50 a day, but like I literally have to make this work. He's like, great, let's do it. I was like, run it. And I ran it. And the first 2-3 weeks sucked because of me, because I was so uncomfortable and because I was in such a lack mindset that when I hired him, I didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't do well. I didn't close really much of any deals. And I asked him, I was like, bro, like I'm really like fucking struggling, like, you know? He's like, don't worry, everybody struggles at first. But within 8 weeks, that was how long, his program's only 8 weeks. Think about that, bro. I paid $9K for just 8 weeks. Crazy. Within 8 weeks, I raised my price. That was the very first thing we did. He goes, you have to raise your price from 3.5K to 5. You have to raise your price. You raise your price, you raise your own standards, you raise your frequency. And to charge 5K, you have to be more abundant. So I raised my price to 5K, doubled my close rate to 36%, and I became really good at sales. And I got better and better and better, and I kept closing deals. And the lesson here, just for us to kind of wrap up this video, is price and sales are going to be huge levers that you're going to be able to pull in your business. If you don't know how to create a great offer, if you don't have good messaging, if you don't have good offer positioning, like there's so much more to it than just like raise your price. Like if you don't have a good offer, good positioning, and good messaging, like then your offer's not valuable. And if you're not good at sales, now you could be like, oh yeah, I've done sales before. I have some sales experience. It's like, trust me, if you don't learn it and you're not good at it, great at it, you're not going to be good at business. But what's really cool, or what's really interesting about like what we do at Music Money Mastery, which is where we help music coaches build their music coaching businesses. By the way, build with you. I build the whole thing with you. It's interesting because I tell my clients, and this is going to be a good mindset shift for you, is that like, look, dude, if you take 10 calls, take 10, okay? Then you close, let's just say you charge $2,000. Okay. You charge $2,000, right? If you close 2 out of 10, which by the way is bad. I tell my clients, if you're closing 2 out of 10, you're not good at sales. 3 out of 10, you're pretty good. You're good. You're good enough to scale. 4 out of 10 is where we want to be. 5 out of 10 is excellent. 6, 7, 8 out of 10 if you're closing that. Probably means you're not charging enough, you're not taking a lot of calls. But anywhere from like that 4 out of 10 to 6 out of 10 range, right? But let's say you do 2 out of 10. That means you're not good at sales. And that means 8 out of 10 people say no or they're not qualified, whatever. So 2 out of 10. And you charge $2,000. That's $4,000 cash collected, right? Well, right now, my clients are paying $100 to take a call. Take a step back here. slow down. They pay $100 to take a call. That means when we run ads, their cost per call taken is about $100. By the way, it's lower than that, but right now on average, my clients are it's around. Some clients it's like 90. Like one of my clients is like $92. One of them's like $70. Some are 100. So it's like the range, but like it's on average 100. Okay, 10 calls. How much money would it take for you to take 10 calls? $1,000. $100 for a call times 10 calls, that's $1,000. If you're not that good at sales and you just have super conviction in what you do and you're just authentic, you'll close 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10 if you charge $2,000, it's $4,000. That means you'll spend $1,000 to make $4,000. You're rich. That's a 4x return on ad spend. That's incredible. You can scale that. Isn't that crazy? By the way, $2,000 is cheap. So if you charge a cheap price and aren't even that good at sales, you could charge a cheap price of $2,000 and just be super convicted and authentic on a sales call, and you could make 4x your money if you have the marketing system, if you have the offer, if you have the positioning, if you have the messaging, which is what I do with my clients, is help you develop all of that stuff. Dude, running ads, DMs, book calls, like getting people on calls, that's the easiest part. And it's the part that everyone trips out about. The hard part is closing deals. Sales can be hard. That's why I do sales coaching with my clients. I give you a sales framework and I give you your own sales framework. I mean, I give you a sales framework, but I help you build your sales framework. And we review sales calls. So when you have a Zoom call with a client, close or not, you and me are going to review that call and I'm going to pick it apart and help you get better at sales. Like my client, Brad, this week he closed 2 new clients and he got a third person to put down a deposit. That's mostly he got the marketing system dialed within 2-3 weeks. He's like, dude, I'm booking calls for like $50. He's like, I'm ripping them, but he wasn't closing at first. And I was just back and forth, voice notes on Slack messages with him. And we reviewed a sales call. And he's like, dude, after that one sales call review, I just closed 2 more people. So like sales is something we work on as well. Now he's going to get better. Like my goal for Brad is let's get you to 30% consistent close percentage right now in steps. And let's get you to 10K a month. He could make 10K this month in February. He could. If not this month, he's going to get it next month. My client, Allie, just did $10,000 in January and she's already done 4.5K cash collected off $300 of ad spend this month in February. So it's like the marketing system and the sales part's not that hard. So anyway, listen, I'm honored to be able to serve and support you here on YouTube for free. If you want help actually building your music coaching business, you can DM me on Instagram or you can book a call with me and we can just get on a call and see if it's the right fit. All right. Like I said, happy to serve and support you here and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.